core 44, core 47. So basically the core rating is, if you threw an object at 100 miles an hour, what speed would it bounce back at? So a core 50 would bounce back at 50 miles an hour, a core 47 at 47 miles per hour, core 44 at 44 miles per hour. So there should be 3 mile per hour difference if they were thrown at 100 miles an hour. So there could be an actual effect or throwing about half of that, a little more. So it should be 1.5, 2 mile per hour difference. This is also a cork center. This is a poly core. I'm not sure if that makes any difference, but that's it in a nutshell. Here we go. Yeah, the bats. Wood is a little softer, obviously, than metal. So in combination of a cork center ball, core 44 with a wood bat, I'm expecting about 15% less distance. So we're going to move the fences in from 240 to 210. I hope it doesn't take too much offense out of the game, but we will soon find out. Okay, so now that the tourney's over, we got lots of photos, we got lots of stats. There was a very similar tournament the week before of the wood bat tournament. Our Connaught Park playoffs featured three of the same teams that were in the wood bat tournament. So we're going to compare those stat sheets, ask the players what they think, review how many bats were broken and so on, and end up asking you guys, the players and the fans, what you think. Is a wood bat a good idea? Is a cork ball a good idea? Where do we go from here? Our 65 and over Masters team had been talking of going to the over 65 NAFA East tourney, September 2019. And I figured it would be a good idea to get the team together once beforehand. So hosting a tourney in the summer of 2019 seemed like a good idea. Then somebody came up with the idea of using wood bats. Now, I've always been a fan of somehow slowing the ball down, either by going to a lower core ball or using wood bats. But it seemed a little different this time. There was just a lot more support for using wood bats. It seems like the time has finally come, so to speak. Players seemed to be keen on giving it a try. Now, obviously, the first issue with wood bats is breakage. Not only do we have to find and buy some wood bats, we also have to have some spares in case of breakage. The whole idea here is to make the game safer and more exciting. Squamish, BC has a history of fast pitch softball at this park, but it hadn't been used for, I think, 8 years, so a lot of work was required to get it ready for the tournament. Bunting was definitely a bigger part of the game. Generally, I'm not a big fan of small ball, but at times I felt like we couldn't get it out of the infield, so we may as well drop a bunt and at least make them run for the ball. The Parksville Red Sox turned out to be the class of the tournament. We kind of knew they would be, and in the end they won the final game 8-2. I'm not totally sold on the whole wood bat thing. First there's the cost and breakage, but even after that I'm not sure it's the solution. The ball, in combination with the bats, can completely change the game and therefore change the strategy. So I want to ask you, the player or even the fan, what do you think?